We are live.
Are we live?
So Manitobans are set to go to the poll March 22nd. That's upcoming Tuesday.
Which Manitobans? Not most of them.
Correct. It's actually just the people in the riding of Fort White, because as of last September, our very popular premier, it was
Mr. Pallister?
yeah, he resigned and opened his seat up, and also the position of premiership, which was also voted recently on, and now we have that lovely Heather Stephenson as premier.
That's a story for another day.
Yes. But if you live in the Fort White riding, you have five options of who to vote for. And I'm going to go through those 5 people right now.
It's a lot of options.
Yep. So down at the bottom of the list, that's where we're going to start. And I'm going to go to the top of who I think is actually going to win. But we have a independent named Patrick Allard. He is I believe he's a construction worker and activist who has caused some scenes in the province a little recently and quite a while ago at the Bomber Stadium there. But regardless of that guy, go and vote for him if you want, if you like him. Who cares? It's Manitoba. You're allowed to vote for whoever you think you want.
Yeah, and he's an independent, so you can be independent along with him.
In the Green Party, there is Nicholas Goddard. Is that how you say it? Goddard?
Gettert?
Geddert?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Gettert.
Nicholas Geddert, that was it. He is with the Green Party. I don't know. Did they ever get any seats in Manitoba? I can't recall them. That party getting seats. But
I couldn't say one way or the other.
I don't think he's going to win in this riding. And from there, I'm going to put Willard Reeves, the former Blue Bomber and father of a couple of professional sports players himself, Chris Reeves and Michael. Do you remember the other brother,
Ryan?
Yes, Chris and Ryan Reeves.
What party is he running for?
He's running with the Liberal Party, and will they do well in this riding? I don't know. Well, it'll be something to watch, that's for sure. And then from there, I'm going to go with the NDP in second place. And that is a Trudy Schroeder. She is a, what do you call those?
A person.
I know she worked with orchestras. I can't remember. She was a conductor, I believe, actually. Yeah. And I believe the NDP will come in second on this riding. I will be surprised if they come in first. But that's because the big name in the election is Abi Khan.
Is it Obi or Obi?
I think it's actually Abi.
Oh?
Yeah. It's Abraham, actually, is his name.
Well, it sounds like Obi.
So it is Abi. But, yeah. And he's running for the PC Party of Manitoba, which held the riding initially. And Adam, how long has the riding been currently PC?
The riding has in fact always been PC since its inception in the late 90s. I believe 99.
Yep.
Could be off, but it's never been anything but conservative.
Correct. And with that said, I'm actually going to point to a couple of facts of that riding, because in 2019 was our last Manitoba provincial election, and Brian Pallister received 56.8% of the vote. That's why I'm saying it's definitely going to go conservative, but we could be wrong unless there is some kind of change. The NDP held 17.7% of the vote, along with the Liberals, who held 17.5% of the vote in that riding in the last provincial election. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe the Liberals will get more of it with their popular Willard Reeves being in the riding. We'll see.
It's a tight race for second place.
It is.
Doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, the Greens had 6, almost 7%. And actually,
what about Patrick Allard?
Well, independents. We'll see. prior to that, there was 54 votes cast for a party called the Manitoba First Party, I believe. Yeah. And then no votes for the other Manitoba Party in that election.
They didn't even get
was
one?
the Manitoba. What was it? Manitoba.
The Marijuana Party.
I can't remember because there's a few.
Bring it back.
There's a few of them. Yeah, the Manitoba First Party, and then the Manitoba Forward Party was the other one. I'm so confused with those parties, you guys, and I'm gonna actually bring that up first because, as much as we like to talk about politics, especially Michael Lee,
Oh, I love it.
It's his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I've been severely confused with these party options that we have here in Manitoba. Firstly, because recently we had a lot of decisions that were, I don't know if I'd say controversial, but
Don't say that. Banned.
they annoyed people from our provincial government right now, and people were saying they're not conservative enough, and some people were saying they're too conservative. So it led some people to think that we should vote elsewhere with our votes in the upcoming elections. And I say, where else is there to place your vote? We obviously have the traditional conservative, liberal, NDP votes, and in this province, it swings between
Not so much liberal.
the two extremes of social.
The political spectrum.
Yeah,
Is that what we're bringing up now?
The more the more right conservatives, and then the extremely left NDP party. I mean, at least that's the situation we have right now. Previously, NDP party was a little more centrist.
Well, I have a question, Josh.
Yes.
Where do these Manitoba parties sit on that political spectrum?
That's a good point. I would like to point out that currently, there is one party. Michael Lee, pull up, as you like to do, the Manitoba Party website for me for a moment.
Sure can.
Oh, look, they've got a little email address. How quaint.
Okay.
The Manitoba Party is currently the only other option of these so-called Manitoba parties. It was previously called the Manitoba Forward Party, and it ran against a very similar in ideology party called the Manitoba First Party, which seems to have dissolved. So now there's only one Manitoba Party, and some say that they lean slightly more right. And if you read their mission statements here, I'm gonna go through this a little bit.
So it says, our mission is to serve Manitoba and to create more independence and prosperity for our citizens. The Manitoba Party was created to improve the lives of all Manitobans. It started with the realization that the government has lost its mission, its mandate, and lost its primary reason for even existing, which is to preserve and protect our fundamental human rights. The Manitoba Party further realizes that our government has lost the confidence of many and that we are being told what to do, but without our consent. It's a lot more of the same sort of the government is bossing us around and we don't like it type of thing. Which they are. And sometimes we don't like it.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that this party, who is doing a lot better right now in terms of getting some notoriety here, is not even running in this current by-election where they could get some popularity because all of the eyes are on one specific riding.
Yeah.
Seems a little ridiculous, especially when you got a star candidate there, two real star candidates that are going head to head, and I think they would have been wise to invest some money into a candidate there and making their party more known.
Well, do they still exist?
Yeah, they still exist. Yep, they're currently registered, and it's the other party that's not existing.
We should email them and ask them why they're not running.
Yeah,
we'll do that. If we get an answer, we'll let you know what they said.
Yeah, so I just want to bring something up here because you guys like always having the same options to vote for and just being like pigeonholed into one set of beliefs? Like, oh, I'm conservative because conservatives always cut the budget or cut costs, right? Or I like NDP because NDP supports the unions and they pay for healthcare, and that's the simple thoughts that I have on that.
Well, those are kind of the more common things that you hear about these parties. But for myself, I much prefer to vote based on policy that I find relevant at the time, or whenever the election is. I don't align directly with a party. I do tend to end up leaning more towards one, but that's simply because they often choose policy that I agree with. So what I'm saying is vote policy, not party.
Excellent point. And with that said, there is a couple other options here in the province. We do have the Green Party. There is that Communist Party. I don't know how many votes they get.
They don't even have a candidate here.
Yeah, they don't have a candidate in every place.
Then they're not getting any votes.
That is true. But I just want to ask you guys something. When we see the split in the legislative building, the seat they tend to break down between just those specific two parties. Whoever's the party in charge and the opposition, and then there's a handful of Liberal seats.
Traditionally in Manitoba, one of those two parties is in charge and the other one's the opposition. That's why it is that way.
It's that way because that's the way people tend to vote.
Stuck in our ways.
Yeah, and I wanna point something. When I was looking at the data on that riding there, Fort White, there was a notable exception in the constituency of Burroughs. Do you guys know where that is?
Yeah, that's North End, Point Douglas.
I think it's a little. It might be Point Douglas too. It might be a little more.
It's an older neighborhood.
No, it might be more north and but anyways, it's It's
to the northern part of what was originally Winnipeg many years ago, before the amalgamation.
Yeah. And there is a very diverse group there, because people there tend to vote specifically for the people that they most likely talk to, because they're not stuck or pigeonholed, like I just said, in specific voting patterns. The constituency itself was very interesting. Out of 6,508 votes cast in the 2019 election, they voted for a candidate, the NDP candidate, with 2,555 votes. So they took almost half of the votes, and usually ridings in Manitoba are decided with decidedly over half, 50% of the votes in any constituency. So that was surprising to me. And it was also surprising the breakdown of the third or second, however you want to categorize it, parties. The PC party, which was the governing party at the time, got 1,681 votes. The Liberals were close behind them with 1,178 votes. The Manitoba Forward Party. You guys heard of this party before?
Recently, I think.
Yeah, they were actually the Manitoba Party we just talked about. They changed their name. So they got 1,222 votes. I'm just like to say something.
Well, go ahead.
They split in their constituency quite evenly, and I wonder, why can't this be more of the sight we see in the overall picture of Manitoba, where we actually see more options and political parties and more diverse thought in our province and in the decisions made? Why are we so focused as Manitobans on one party or the other and trying to vote in the winner, rather than, like you were saying, talking about policy? Can't we have an option where we have another party, maybe like the Manitoba Party, getting into maybe not into power, but getting seats enough that they could hold some balance of power to sway votes, like our federal NDP likes to prop up that current government?
Well, it's a question. Do you have an answer? I don't.
Well, I would just say to anyone, consider voting for someone else than you would normally vote for based on, like you said, Adam, policy. Try to understand what the best policy is for people and what yourself.
Yeah, figure out what you care about and, vote for the person that talks the most about what you care about.
And has a solid plan about it too, rather than just talks about it.
Solid plan.
Solid evidence or solid
evidence of a plan.
we're awesome.
No, that was all you.
Yeah, don't blame that on us.
But I just want to ask you guys, is there anywhere in this country where alternative parties in provincial legislatives have come to power? Have there been other parties?
Why don't we ask Quebec?
Correct. Quebec is something else of its own. But further to the west,
Moving on.
yeah, I will point out a province next door to us. They have a very uniquely named party too that's actually holding power. Do you know what that is?
Is it perhaps called the Saskatchewan Party?
Weird that they were able to create a unity type party and hold power now. They actually started, I believe, in the late 90s as well, and they just came to power after about 12 or 15 years of being a political party. So I mean, it's possible. It's possible that you're not throwing your vote away just by voting for a party that may not win, but giving them enough support with your vote.
And there was formerly the Wild Rose Party in Alberta that also did quite well.
That is correct. There you go. That party recently joined up with the, because they were a conservative party.
They were.
And they joined up with, I forget what their their provincial party was called, but it was some kind of like progressive conservative party. And now they're called the United Conservative Party of Alberta.
Yes.
And they hold power.
Yeah, they do.
Quite decidedly
they have
in
a
Alberta.
very, very popular premier too.
Well,
He's not popular.
yes. That's what happens with every leader, though.
Ours isn't either. What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, she doesn't make any decisions. She's just told what to say.
Yeah, mostly. Somewhat of a puppet.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see this Manitoba Party be more successful and give us an alternative to vote for. But in the meantime, going back to the Fort White constituency that is going to be voted for on Tuesday, I believe Ibrahim Abi Khan, a former Blue Bomber and business owner of a delicious restaurant or two. I think he has a few other than that Shawarma Khan, and I think he'll win basically on the outset that the constituency tends to vote overwhelmingly conservative. Adam, do you have any information as to suggest why maybe in this political climate he may not win?
I mean, I'm quite confident he's going to win, but if we do see an erosion of conservative support, it will definitely be as a result of their very poor handling of the pandemic and over the last couple of years, and possibly some people just displeased with how they chose their new leader.
All right, so keep an eye on Fort White after Tuesday to see what the turnout says for Manitoba elections in the future, because I do believe 2019 was the last one, meaning after this by-election, we should be seeing an actual provincial election for everybody else coming up sometime next year or something.
2023.
All right. So, think about your vote.
And let us know in the comments down below how you think it's going to go and who you would vote for.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.